that I'm going to do who are just joining us for the first time, and what I've been up to over the week. So then that way that can kind of help get your creative questions flowing, fill you in on things that are going on. We're just getting to know me. I like to flip single family, and I like to buy and hold commercial. Basic to buy, hold, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, right? And I like that. So that's something that I'm just about to finish up leasing up a mobile home park of mine. That's 89 pads in Montgomery, Alabama, and my bank is ready to do the refinance on it as soon as we fill up the last bits. Had a little bit of a delay because for those of you who maybe are getting into whether it's multifamily, if it's mobile parks, that's my space of choice because you get accelerated depreciation. You can usually buy them from operators who haven't operated them efficiently, room to raise room, some amenities, and add to that where you can increase lot rent and you get to increase the equity that way. So, and the cash flow. And then you get the accelerated depreciation, your taxable gain on your income that comes in from it. It may not completely wipe it out, but it'll wipe out a majority of the income. So I ran into a little bit of a snag over the past. This may be, but if unit is vacant for 6 months or longer, the inspection permit with the city, because the city requires an inspection before the power company can come out and turn the power back on. Well, the city requires that if the unit has been vacant for 6 months or longer. Had not been an issue throughout the whole rehab until they changed the inspector on us, and now we're dealing with doesn't come out and just says, "Yep, go ahead and turn it on." It's an older moment. It's nothing fancy. We're not going and updating electrical, but he's I don't know. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's required us to do some extensive electrical upgrades in order before he'll issue or sign off on the city inspection, so the tenant can turn on the power. So that fortunately, I only had 10 units that had been vacant for 6 months or longer. The rest, I turned the power on because it's going to consume very little power when vacant, if any, and so that caused a little bit of a delay, but not a big deal. And then through all of that, buying a mobile home onto a vacant pad at the park, I ended up word got around town, and I've now had 2 other park owners who want to sell me their park. So that's the power of whatever space it's in, but that's the power of testimonial, just being in the neighborhoods, in the marketplace, and just doing deals. Other people hear about it, and then you start getting other opportunities like that pop up. So with that being said, I'm going to switch over here to the question board and take a question. Russ asks, why do you recommend incorporating as opposed to working as an individual? I understand the primary reason. I want you to talk about that if you don't mind. If we do deals using the 188 cash offer branding, credibility, the best way to explain to our sellers why the purchase agreement is done in my company name. Thanks. Great question. So first part, why do you recommend incorporating? Recommend incorporating for a few different reasons. Number one, you are going to get tax benefits from doing that. Now, whether you go with an S corp or you go with an LLC, if it's an LLC, it's going to pass through and be treated as a sole proprietor if you don't opt to have it treated as a corporation. So you can choose if you want to do that. So there are tax benefits and roughs of doing that. So again, I'll kind of let your accountant fill in the details on that, and which entity is best, S corp and being treated as a corporation, or LLC and allow it to be treated just as a pass through, or other to have it also as a corporation. Number two is for the lending purposes, whether your wholesale deal that we're going to lend 100% of the financing plus closing costs, and as is on a double close. Lend to an individual. We have to lend to an entity. So that's one reason. Second reason, you can always use the proof of funds. Or can use funds if you don't have a corporation or an entity, an LLC set up yet. You can still generate a proof of funds in your personal name. You can still make offers in your personal name, and you can still put properties under contract in your personal name. Now, whether maybe you will sell it and you want us to fund it, or one of our rehab products for rehab financing, which we have, and we'll do 90% of the rehab costs up to 75% of the loan to value. You will also need an entity for any lending, whether it's us or any lender you speak to. They're always want to lend to an entity. They're not going to want to lend to an individual. To finish that point, if you are using your personal name and you don't have an entity set up yet, that's okay. You can still put properties under contract and you can assign them. So when you assign them, you need to use funding. You don't actually purchase the property. You're just assigning rights to a cash buyer. It's actually work levels. It's all, and I still do it all the time. There's really no benefit to using funding to buy as and sell as is sale if the contract is assignable. And contracts by nature are assignable unless there's a clause in there that says it's not assignable. And the only other transaction that a contract would not be assignable would be a short sale or an REO, because you're dealing with a lender approval, and they won't approve a contract that's assignable, so they require it to be unassignable. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions on that, Russ, let me know. The second of your question is, if you're doing deals using the brand, what's the best way to explain why the purchase agreement is in another name? Maybe it's an individual name, your entity name, what have you. You can always let them know the name of your, while you are 1-888 cash offer, the closing entity that you're going to be using is the entity that they see there on the purchase agreement. So it's not uncommon for many different companies to have different sometimes it will be something similar to their company name, like 1-888 cash offer fund number 1, or fund number 2, or 1-888 cash offer flip fund number 1, something like that. But it could be something totally different. You can just let them know that's your purchase entity, your holding entity that you're going to be using for this property. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions on that, let me know. But that's an easy way to be able to kind of present that. And that will also come up if you're doing assignments, because when you go to assign the contract, the name will change during the escrow, won't it? It's going to change from your entity that's on the purchase agreement. It's going to be assigned to another entity. And so that may be a question with the seller, or if there is a realtor involved, the realtor saying, you know, and you're right to assign it, right? But they may go, hey, what's this other entity here? And so it's good to let them know that that's a partner of yours, and that's the holding entity that you guys are choosing to close in. So I hope that helps. All right, cool, great, thanks. So with being said, I want to see if I've got sometimes I've got a co-host on, not this evening, so that's okay. So I'll end this one alone. But those were some great questions, Russ. So thanks for throwing those at me. If anybody else has any other questions or lead that they'd like to look at or check out, let me know. It's mating season here in the harbor. If you guys know anything about sea lion mating seasons, so that's something you can hear. They're actually just a few boats over now. Anyway, hopefully that'll die down. Okay, Russ says one more thing. I didn't know you loaned for rehabs. Where can I get more details about? Great question. What I'll do is see if I can. I wish I could attach. What I'll do is, Russ, if you would, actually, hold on here one second. That's a great question. I might as well pull it up on the screen so we can all take a look. Hold on one second here, because this will be good for everybody. And this is something I can also email over, Russ, if you want to send me your email. So let me make sure I've got this pulled up here correctly. Okay. All right, you guys should be able to see this here in about 1 second. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Okay, so Russ was asking, what are the rates and terms and guidelines for rehab lending? So here is a you do have, and this is a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and fit the width so you guys can see it. So this rehab funding, this isn't for owner occupied, obviously. This is just going to be for non-owner occupied fix and flip scenarios. So as far as the qualifications go, it's just bank statements only. So there's no income verification. We don't need tax returns. I believe we can use, 12 months bank statements is preferable, but I believe we can do it with about 3 months bank statements. It really just depends, but we will do it based off bank statements only. It's interest-only payments. We can do 4 to 10-day closings. Let's see, the reason why it can run longer is if we've got an incomplete submission or if we don't get the appraisal ordered. And can really hold it up. So the interest rate's based on Experian FICO. So, and there's tiers for that, and I can go over that down below. But what we're really looking for to get the best pricing is if you've got 5 properties that you can show that you have either, they could be fix-and-flips, could be rental properties that you own. The qualifications aren't that stringent on the 5. So if you can show up to 5, you're going to get the best interest rate pricing that you're seeing here. We can also cross-collateralize if needed. And then all the lenders that we work with are direct lenders, and there's no minimum FICO requirement. So you don't have to worry about the FICO here. This is really just bank statement driven, and it's really it's LTV driven. So LTV driven. So let's talk about it, right? LTV max 75-80% loan to value. This 5 to 80% that really ties into the percentage of the ARV, right? So we'll lend 90% of the loan to purchase. So 90% of the, if you're buying, if it's $100,000 purchase price, we'll lend 90% of that. So we would lend 90,000 of 100,000, and you would need to come in with 10,000 down, right? In that scenario, 90%. And then we'll lend up to 100% of the cost, but that would be up to 75 to 80% of the ARV. So if you're after repair value on the properties, 300,000 or 250, and you're buying it for 100, and you've got 50,000 of renovations, then obviously let's just say 50,000 plus 100, that's 150,000. 150 divided by 250, that's 60% of RV. So we'd be able to lend you 100% of the rehab. But you're always going to be required to put 10% down of the purchase price in this case. So the point on it, 2 points. Again, no FICO requirements. If you need to extend, you can. But it's a 1 year, 12-month program, at least on the left column. If it's in flow, that should be plenty of time. You shouldn't need to extend. But if you are looking, if this is more of a bridge, maybe it's a multifamily property you're looking to reposition, then, you could go with a 2-year term and then always extend. I doubt you'll need, 4 years on that. Even something that's pretty rough, you should be able to get it done in 2. Your DSCR requirement, you don't have any for that. I mean, if you're talking about fix and flip just on a single family, you're not going to be having cash flow to use anyway. Your closing time frame, so again, 4 to 10 business days, and then you've got your fee, 8.5. I hope that helps. So you can see that's for single families. You can do it for small multi, 2 to 4 units, condos, PUDs, townhomes, and then 5 to 20 unit multifamily, repositioning, rehab that you want to do. So I hope that helps. As far as the property valuation, like I said on the timeline, how that can go, obviously, if you've got a deal, you'll get your application submitted and get your bank statement in with, and then obviously, if you've got a bid from a contractor, you're going to get that in as well. And then we'll order, a BPO, or we'll order an appraisal. So it really just depends on the value what we're talking about here. But we'll go in one of those two directions. So if you guys have any questions on that, let me know, but that's a great question from Russ there. So I'm going to go back here to the Q&A board. Russ says, let's see, I just answered that, so hope that helps Russ. Suzette asks, can I sell contract that will be short sale and needs a rehab? That's a great question. Short sales, you really need to double close it. That would be the best way to go. There's a workaround to that, but it would most likely be easiest just have us can buy it as is and add close and take title, and then we do the double close, which means your buyer would sign a purchase and sale agreement, right? And then we'd open up a second escrow, wire in their non-refundable deposit, and then they would wire in their closing balance, and then that way you can buy as is and then sell as is. So can you sell a contract the short needs a rehab? Yes, definitely. A follow-up question to that, do you have one under contract now, and have you started marketing it? Do you have a buyer's list or a buyer for that property? Because number one, if you already do, excellent. If you want us to fund it, we will, and you can do a double close, and then we'll just charge the lending fee on that, and that will be, if you go to the funding tab in Fliplogic, and I'll actually pull that up right here while we're talking about it. So let me pull that up. Funding, proof of funds. This is where you can generate your proof of funds letters, by the way. Here's the funding schedule for our wholesale funding. So if you want to just buy as is, sell as is, then it's just 2 points. And that's for a zero, zero is same day, you're buying as is, selling as is, same day, and up to 2 days. So that would be, and that's it. So if you want to market for a buyer or you already, excellent. If you want more help with that, if you would like to deal partner on it, we'd be happy on it. And in exchange for deal partnering, we would actually come on the contract as a 50 partner. So it would be a 50-50 deal split. We would put up the deposit if needed, up to 1%, and then we would help you manage the transaction. We would help market it to cash buyers. We would help, go between escrow and title, the seller, buyer if need be. So we'll be in the trenches with you on the transaction, helping you manage, the deal from A to Z, because we've got obviously we've got a 50% interest in it, and we're a partner on it. So obviously we can get on there and talk to everybody and help you close it if that's something you're doing. I don't know how far along the deal is, but now you kind of know the ins and outs of deal partnering versus just us lending on it. So if you have any further questions on that, Suzette, let me know. Other than that, guys, it's 7 o'clock, so we've got 30 minutes left. If you guys have any other questions that you'd like to get in. Lion asks, can you recommend the best way to go after a REO? Yeah, so an REO, obviously, it's a real estate owned, bank owned property. REOs, policies now for most REOs, most if not all, is they do require that property be listed on the open market for at least 30 days before they accept an offer. So the best way to go after an REO would just be to go. You could go to sources. One would online, so you could whether you access the MLS or you go on Zillow or Redfin or within Fliplogic, the instant, and then also the HUDhomestore.com, or it might be, yeah, it's HUDhomestore.com. You can, let's see, I think I can actually pull it up here too. HUDhomestore.com. The only thing I don't like about HUD, so the thing I don't like is that you don't get a refund. It's a really quick timeline. You don't get a refundable inspection period. So I don't recommend doing it because you could lose your $500 to $1,000 deposit. You really don't have much time to work these deals. So, but I wanted to at least show you another place for REOs, which is HUD Home Store. So they actually do it by a bid process where it's an auction. But you can go on there, you can at least look, you can take a look, and it looks like they've got some other dollar home government sales. You can look at that stuff as well. But I don't know. I haven't gone on HUD in a long time, but I just know that if you do not have an inspection period, and I recommend, you know, if you've got a solid buyer's list, or if you're using our existing investor list here in California, you know, we can move deals pretty quickly. You could use a shorter time frame. You could use 5 days, but I really recommend, you know, so closer to 7 to 10 days, because that gives you time again to market the deal. But I think HUD gives you 2 days, and then they require it's depending on the price point. I think if it's $75,000 or less on the purchase price, they require a $500 deposit. If it's $75,000 and more, they require a $1,000 deposit. As soon as you have an acceptance, they require it. The signed purchase agreement and cashier's check be mailed out to them within 48 hours, and then you're going to see that thing come back. So you would have to know you really got a great deal on it. I do believe you get 30 days to close on it. So that's plenty of time to do a double closing and do that, but you need to get it sold, you know, you got to get it sold within that time frame. And if you can't, because either you paid or, I don't know, there's just something funky with it, then, you know, you just have to be okay with knowing that you could potentially lose your $500 to $1,000 deposit. So you're okay with that, or if you can, you know, buy it at such a great price, know that you're going to be able to move it. Of course, for you. So, you know, deals being done on there all the time, but again, there's it just helps. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Let's see. Lion says you broke up right at the time of being listed. The time of being listing. Maybe the part I lost you at was I guess what I'm saying is there's really no off-market bank-owned property deals to be done. Not today that I know of. Banks typically require a property be listed on the open market for at least 30 days before they accept an offer. So if you're looking for REOs, to the MLS, HUDhomestore.com, and you could also reach out to other small regional banks, but they're not going to do any inside deals off market. They have all their stuff listed with a realtor, and so again, once they do that, you would be able to find it on the open market, either Zillow, Red, ML, you know, home store for HUD Homes, because HUD requires offers to be made through their website. So I hope that helps. Russ asks, so is 1% the standard non-refundable deposit I should ask of my buyer on an assignment deal? Really what you want is your buyer's deposit needs to be equal to or greater than your purchase. So, for example, if your purchase contract has a 1% deposit on there, then you're going to want to ask for at least that amount on the assignment agreement that require, that much of a deposit on such and such date, and then you guys are going to agree on what. So, and they always have the buyer on an assignment. He always wires his deposit directly to escrow or the closing agent, whoever it is. If it's an escrow, real estate attorney, if it's an attorney state, and so the deposit goes there. If you already have one in there, then they'll release yours back to you, and then when the deal closes, obviously you get your margin, from what you put it under contract at to what you assigned it at. So I hope that helps. Okay. All right. Any other questions? We've got a little more time left if you guys have any other questions that you'd like to get answered. We've got a 12 or 13 minutes if we need to take it. I'm curious, everybody, Suzette, Russ, where are you guys chiming in from? I think Suzette, I know you're down in San Diego. Part of Zen. I know Mayon's in Long Beach. But Suzette, if you want a deal partner on that deal, would love to. If you want to just send the application for funding to buyers and sellers on your short sale there, then you can go to the funding request tab here under funding, and then use the funding request form here, and then that way we can go ahead and get that rolling for you. All right, Russ. Love Dallas. I was there last 2 summers ago. Yeah, Dallas was a great town. I'm a Cowboys fan myself. I grew up a Cowboys fan from California, from Go Figure. I guess because when I was in elementary school, it was definitely America's team. So being an American, I was all for it. Loved watching Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Daryl Johnson and all those guys, make it happen there. All right, guys, I think we're getting close to the end here. Mayan does say on the reheating, is it just limited to the states that were listed? That's a really great question. So when we originally, short answer, no. We additional states. We do have multiple lenders. So that list has expanded as our stable of rehab lenders has expanded. So no, we can do rehab funding outside of those states. So it is going to be kind of on a case-by-case basis because I need to make sure that I get it just make sure I can get the green light that we do lend in that state specifically. But yeah, if you're interested in Ohio, so obviously I don't believe Ohio that's on our list. Probably noticed that it's not. So, but yes, I can confirm. I've got a few other lenders in mind, and I do need to update that list there. Whether we can do Ohio, I'm sure that we can. I just need to just double confirm. Russ says, idea was somebody trying to get started. Great. No, my pleasure. I definitely love connecting with you guys, and this is a way that I can make myself available to everybody here and answer all your questions at once, and everybody can learn from everybody else's questions. And then as you guys do have leads that you'd like me to look at here, it's that'll obviously help not only you if it's your lead, but everybody else as as we do some deal analysis through the Fliplogic system. Very cool, very cool. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think I don't have any other questions here unless you guys have some. I think that's it. Okay. Impact with ideas, a lot of concepts together for me. Oh man, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, that was it was a labor of love, let me tell you. Writing a book, and I'm definitely not the best at it, but it's nice. I've done quite a few deals, so it was fun to have the book open, my document open, and I would write from real experiences as I was going through them, which made it fun to actually do the book and just pull from real life examples. So the great news is whether you've got a lot of resources or you don't have a lot of resources, it's just a numbers game. Just more leads, more offers, more closings. It's really that simple. You got to be making offers every day, making verbal offers. You're just pitching verbally with sellers, whether it's preferably private sellers. Doesn't any better. Go on market. You can just know that it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Everybody can see the deal. It's online. But stuff falls through the cracks all the time. Buyers, they're busy too. So when somebody has a deal under contract, and if it's below that price it is on the MLS, that's okay. They don't mind if it's on the market as long as it's a deal. So yeah, more leads, more offers, more closings. Just get out there. Whether it's sending letters. I'll be doing another training coming up on RVM, recorded voice mail blasts. So we'll talk about that on next go round. That'll be a tab on our nav panel that will be coming in under direct mail resources. So direct mail, if you've read the book or if you've gone into the classroom and you've watched the 45 case studies that I talk about, you'll notice on each one of those case studies I talk about what's the origin of the lead, where did it come from. Many of those came from direct mail campaigns, and love direct mail. So another resource that we're going to make available is but yeah, putting your feet in the street, calling on vacant houses, direct mailing vacant houses. calling on for sale by owner. But call them up, build some rapport, see if there's any motivation there, flexibility in the feel them out over the phone, kind of go over the numbers with them. Let's see if you guys are in the same ballpark. Set up an appointment and go out there if you need to. There's nothing like face-to-face, definitely face-to-face. If you guys are if they're kind of like, they're a little wishy-washy, they're motivated, but they kind of stuck to a number, you can let them know where you're coming from. Hey, this is what the property is going to be worth. This is how much we're going to put into it. Because of that, we've got to be at this price to make it work. But you know what? Why don't I come out there, take a look at it, and see if there's anything better that I can do. Sometimes you have to do that if you want to tie down the deal, because face-to-face can help trust, rapport, and get them to sign on the line, which is dotted at a lower price. And for those of you who are thinking about doing that, if you want to wear a polo, something branded, those as well in the store, you don't have to do it. Does it help? It always helps to look professional. Do you need to go to the property? No. Does it help? Face-to-face always helps. So the most efficient use of time is obviously doing desktop underwriting, building rapport over the phone, making that verbal offer over the phone, and then formalizing it with a purchase and sale agreement. But if you need to, if it's nearby, might as well stop by, snap some photos, go, rub elbows, build some rapport, and then that always helps get the price down. Whether if it's not right then and there, if you ever have to renegotiate, after your buyers walk through there, it plants the seeds, sets the tone, builds rapport where you can ask for that price reduction via a verbal, formalize it with an addendum. I know there's folks on here we've done that with many times where you can get pretty large price reductions. It's just a matter of time. Well, with that being said, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap the call. Let me make sure I didn't leave anybody behind here. So great. That's all the questions. Well, thanks everybody for joining me. I will see you here, same time, same place next week, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern. Thank you everybody for your questions and your contribution. And I will catch you all next week. Take care.